Today on the report card, the ADHSHL takes on Las Vegas. Plus, the Vegas Junior Golden Knights take home ice during the third annual ADHSHL Vegas Showcase. A new friend in faith, Lutheran, is found by the high school league. JSerra and Tahoe battle it in the desert in a key Division I matchup. And back in SoCal, Pacific Ridge hosted Santa Margarita down in Carlsbad. Plus, who is our special guest host? Find out right here, right now on the report card. And welcome in, everybody, to the report card. This is episode 6 of season 3. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, here is your guest co-host, the big surprise. It's Eric Pessolano, everybody. Eric, welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me, Christian. It's going to be a lot of fun today. I'm glad I'm not hosting, so I don't get to drag the show down, which is nice.
It's just on me then.
Right.
Fantastic.
Also, during the open, I was thinking to myself, who's the special guest host? I forget sometimes. It's me
you.
For the first time ever.
We're really excited to have you back. If you hadn't seen the show before, Eric was the main host the first 2 seasons, but he's taken on some new duties. We'll talk a little bit about that a little bit later on. But it's fantastic to have him back, and we're really excited. Eric, we just came back from Vegas. We made it all the way home from Vegas.
All right, we'll go with that.
In almost one piece. It was a fantastic time. But let's get to the Vegas Showcase right now. We're going to kick off the highlights with the Vegas Junior Golden Knights, where they got a true home game as they hosted the Capistrano United Coyotes. And the Coyotes worked the zone early in the first, and Joe Pratt finds Rocky Haymaker to put Capo up early 1-0 on a power play goal. Moving on to the end of the first period now, it's Caden Bradford receiving a deflected pass from Mason Hollis, and as he dekes the goaltender, and now it's 2-0 Coyotes. Just 4 minutes into the second period, it's Rocky Haymaker once again coming all the way down the ice. He does this one himself as he gets his second goal of the game. Now, almost halfway through the third, Caden Bradford with the puck. Well, he's going to end up putting it on net once again, as you see right here. This, though, is saved by the goaltender, and a fat rebound was tapped home by Ryan Scalise. 4-0 Coyotes. And now, finally, less than a minute left, it's Jacob Feingold capping it with a power play goal of his own. Capo wins this one 5-0. Let's take a look at the final stats for this one. Vegas unable to really celebrate anything here on home ice. The Coyotes were led by Rocky Haymaker, who had 2 goals. Caden Bradford, Feingold, and Ryan Scalise also lit the lamp in this one. Daria only had to save 3 shots before he ended up being pulled for a replacement. Meanwhile, for the Junior Golden Knights, Goldsmith had 25 of 28 saves. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough for his team, as they ended up losing to the Coyotes 5-0. And Eric, we were in Vegas for this one. Vegas Junior Golden Knights were really excited for this, but the Capistrano United Coyotes showed up, and it was a D3 kind of matchup, but they showed up and did what they do best.
Oh, we know top to bottom how talented this Capistrano team is, and every year that we think, oh my gosh, they're going to graduate a lot of seniors, here they come, and you see the D3 team put together a performance like this. By the way, kudos to the producers getting a D3 highlight in there, by the way. I know we were out in Vegas, and we didn't have a ton of D1 games going on. We'll get to some of those later, but you look at Capistrano United. I had the chance to talk with Mike Townsend, who's the team manager for Capistrano United, while we were out in Vegas, and he talked about the depth of the team and all the players who were going to step up and make plays who you wouldn't normally hear of. And yeah, the game was already pretty much decided by the time Feingold got on the board, but there's a guy who comes in. You don't hear about him much. He contributes, gets that late goal. You got Rocky Haymaker, who's going to be huge for the Division I team as soon as he moves up in the ranks. And this team is primed to just continue their dominance in the years to come.
They're up in the top of the standings. We'll look at the standings a little bit later in Division I. Division III, just the same, as these Capistrano United Coyotes really get things moving.
Yeah, and let's talk about the experience out in Vegas. We saw a couple new teams come out there, and we got to see some talent we hadn't seen before. We got a new team that came out there to participate in the tournament, who we're going to talk about here in just a little bit. But I think all around, it was great to see all the kids who are coming up through the ranks and sticking with the programs, and all the new kids who are going to make a name for themselves here in the coming years.
We've got some good talent coming in. It's not just Division I, folks. Chuck and I have talked about it on the show multiple times when we're talking about Division II and Division III. this high school league that the Anaheim Ducks have put together is loaded right now. It wasn't quite like that a couple years ago. We're getting to that point where the Division II, Division III, even JV has a bunch of punch in them, and we're seeing a lot of success at the lower levels as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We got a big game going on behind us right here at 5 Point Arena. Beach Cities is playing St. John Bosco in a big Division II matchup. We'll talk about that one a little bit later. But everywhere you turn in this building, there's a huge matchup going on. I think tomorrow night we've got 2 going on simultaneously in Division I. Again, we'll talk about it later.
How did that happen? Oh my gosh. Scheduling.
You know, we try to schedule it, and you try to see the prime matchups, and that be the focus. But with so many other teams doing well, and the divisions, as we'll see later on, are so tight at the top, it's impossible to separate them anymore. There's no way to highlight just one. They're all important.
Absolutely. You'll see we actually did originally schedule to broadcast the Santa Margarita JSerra game tomorrow. We'll talk a little bit about that. We're not going to be broadcasting that one tomorrow. We are not broadcasting the mother of all battles, Eric.
For the first time ever.
I think ever, yeah, right?
Since Black Dog Hockey's been covering games, yeah. Matt Blanchard and I were talking about it. Hashtag flex game.
Yeah.
I don't know if we can use the word flex. Might be owned by another network, but it's the first time we flexed a game, and we thought it was necessary, and the fans will see why as we talk about it later on in the show.
Absolutely.
But out in Vegas, we talk about a new team coming in, and of course, we always love it when teams come to join the fray. Christian mentioned it at the top of the show, the Faith Lutheran Crusaders. Got a little bit of taste of the ADHSHL out in Vegas as they went and took on Carlsbad United in what was a basically Division III matchup, if you will. In the first period, we pick it up. Hunter Keck takes this pass here from Colton Flights, and he's able to put it home. And just out of the gate, you see Faith Lutheran up 1-0 early on. Later on in the first, actually just a little bit more than a minute later on the power play, Nico Arbois from Nick Toms, and Carlsbad United is able to even things up at a goal apiece. Moving on to the end of the first period with just about 4 minutes left. Kyle Martin takes this one from Hunter Ketch, who picks up his second point there with the helper, and it's a 2-1 lead in favor of Faith Lutheran, and it was all Crusaders from then on out. In the second period, Dominic Seward gets a pair of goals here back-to-back. He had a big day for Faith Lutheran, showing the Anaheim Ducks High School Hockey League that a team from Nevada can skate with them as well. The first one he got from Kevin Hanley. The second one here is from Noah McAnallen and Kevin Hanley, who picks up another assist, and it was all Faith Lutheran all day. They win it by a final score of 6-2, and the Crusaders showing out of the gate that, hey, they can hang with this competition as well. You see there, Arbois had the goal, the big one to start it off, and then for Carlsbad United, he and Morris had the 2 goals there. For Carlsbad United, couple of assists each for Toms and Bromley, but on the other side, it was all about Dominic Sir, who had the hat trick. He added one at the end, picked up an assist as well. Hanley had a hat trick of assists, if you will. Lots of contributors there for the Crusaders, who had a great weekend. Christian, they ended up going 2-1 on the weekend, and they turned some heads in the ADHSHL out in Vegas.
I think they turned a couple more than just some heads, too, as Faith Lutheran put themselves on the map.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of rumor of there's going to be eventual expansion. I wouldn't be surprised if this Faith Lutheran team's one of those next teams. I mean, I don't know who's not interested in this league right now. You see Cherry Creek come down every single year to be part of this in some way. Granted, it's an exhibition weekend for them, but I wouldn't be surprised to see this Faith Lutheran team jump in. They were fantastic, like you said, winning 2 out of 3 games, going up against some of ADHSHL's finest, and I think they would be a fantastic addition to this league. That's another conversation for another report card if they do decide to end up joining in. But this Faith Lutheran team was absolutely dominant, at least in the couple games, and their fan base that we saw on Friday night there was unbelievable.
If you go to NHL.com and go to the Vegas Golden Knights page, they actually have a small little featurette on this Faith Lutheran team, and their head coach, Pokey Reddick, who NHL fans know was a goaltender back in the day. He's their head coach, and he's running that program over there, and he was mentioning they get about 800 fans to fill up City National Arena where they play their games to watch them, and they're a perfect fit for this league. And if they have any interest in joining, I know the league will welcome them with open arms. They're the first high school in the state of Nevada to play high school hockey under the moniker of a high school. Rather than, we know we have the Vegas Junior Golden Knights here in the ADHSHL, but that's not a high school. Faith Lutheran is a high school, and they carry the moniker. They're the first one in the state, and I think they would love to play this competition. Only time will tell if they make the leap.
It's not really surprising that Vegas is getting all this off-sprouting of hockey. It's going to happen when you have an expansion team go to Vegas. I said it on the broadcast. A couple years from now, we might be doing our little Emerald City showcase for the high school league because Seattle's obviously getting the team in very, very soon. The naming rights to that team coming up really quick. We're going to know the name in probably spring of next year. This is our last show of the year. I just realized that. Anyway, by the next time we're doing a show, we're going to be really coming up on that. Same with this Vegas team. And like you said, Faith Lutheran stepped up. Their first team in Vegas or in Nevada that has their own team name under one high school, and they are rolling. They did really well in the showcase with us.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned Seattle. Remember, their AHL affiliate is going to be based in Palm Desert, or Palm Springs, rather.
Where's that? We
had the Palm Desert team in the ADHSHL for a couple of seasons. The Rams get built back up. We're going to see them out here again, I'd imagine. They're going to want to get back at it as well. And all it's doing is just expanding hockey on the West Coast, and it's fun to watch.
Eric, I'm not ready for two teams to have the same nickname. St. Mary's is in the league. They weren't in the league when Palm Springs was in the league. So I don't know if we can do two. We're going to have to figure that one out.
Well, we have two Spartans already. We have Damien and Villa Park.
We do have two Spartans.
Yeah. We have two Lancers also.
All right, fine. All right, fine. You win. We're just going to have to move on.
Glad to be back.
It's good to have you back. Yeah, I was waiting all week for this. Whatever. Anyway, I'll tell you, Eric, as part of the Vegas showcase, we did have an amazing game on Friday night.
Yeah, we did.
And it was the only Division I, actual Division in league game that we had in Vegas, and boy was it a thriller. It was between Tahoe Prep Academy and the JSerra Lions. Let's take a look at the highlights now, and jumping right into it, it was Tahoe that found the board first. Seacrest and Palmersheim play a little back and forth before Seacrest, who scores the first tally from his behind, 1-0 Tahoe. Moments later, Tahoe pressures the Lions into coughing up a puck in the zone, and, well, Bowman's able to get it to Seacrest once again, and Seacrest lights the lamp for his second time. Moments later, though, 2-1 Tahoe now. It's Nick Stevens who just flings a puck towards the net from the point. All knotted up at 2 now, JSerra and Tahoe. Into the third, all tied at 3. The Lions find the board again on the stick of Kiernan, who just comes all the way through and is waiting for the pass. Now 4-3 JSerra. Waning moments of the third, Ryan Tabrizi scores the 5th goal of the game for the Lions. Tahoe would score again within the last 27 seconds of the game, but it wouldn't be enough. 5 for the final in what was an outstanding D1 matchup. A treat for anyone that was out in Vegas. Let's take a look at the scorecard. Chase Seacrest was the star of the game for Tahoe Prep Academy's side. He had 2 goals and an assist. Bowman and Palmersheim also found the net. Brink, in the losing effort, only stopped 16 of 21. That ended up being the downfall for Tahoe Prep Academy. Meanwhile, on the Lions side, it was Ryan Tabrizi who had a whale of a weekend in Vegas. He put up 2 goals and an assist in this one as well. Kiernan, Stevens, and Fronte all score. Michelizzi only needed to stop 8 shots, 8 of 12 in that game, Eric. And we've seen this in the past from the Lions. Sometimes a slow start, but a game like this one in Vegas with all eyes on them can be a huge season turner, and the Lions might be back.
And it was a pivotal game in Division I for these two teams, especially for playoff seeding going forward. We're going to talk about the playoff brackets a little bit later. This was a goal scorer's delight. The goaltenders were not sharp in this game. You saw the stats there. There were 33 combined shots in this game, and nine of those went in the net.
Not a good ratio.
That's not great if you're a goaltender. Not great if you're looking for defense. I'm sure Coach Noviello and Coach Fenn, who've known each other a long time, were probably not stoked about the defense, but the offense showed up. You looked at that scorecard there. A lot of balanced scoring between these two teams. Something they need going forward when you face an Orange Lutheran, when you face a Santa Margarita in the postseason, and for JSerra in their case, perhaps in the state tournament as well. But everybody getting their hand in the cookie jar in that game, and that's something that you want to see offensively, especially in Division I.
I will say another thing that we got to see in this game that you didn't really get to see highlighted in that little package we had were the amount of penalties. That's not what we like to see, but it got a little bit out of hand, like a game we saw earlier, JSerra and Santa Margarita earlier this year got out of hand. There ended up being a very long delay because of some penalties that were called, and both Coach Noviello and Coach Fenn got their players together and said, cut it. This is done. This is not how we play hockey here. for our respective schools or programs, and for this high school league. It ended up being a lot cleaner of a game right after that, and it's hockey. Tensions are going to be high throughout the game, but it's great to see both coaching staffs really being able to reel that in, say, let's get back to actually playing the game.
Yeah, and you're in another state. You're playing a league game, so it matters, and it's in front of scouts. There are scouts out there taking a look at these players during this showcase, so you want to put on your best. The scouts do come here to Irvine. They do go to Anaheim and watch the players play. But this is a showcase. This is what this is for. They're not always here in Irvine watching the game. So you do have to be under your quote-unquote best behavior as far as being sharp. And you want to impress the junior scouts, the college scouts to advance your career. So great job by the two coaches, settled their kids down. I had a chance to chat with Matt Holder, who's Owen Holder's father from JSerra. And he talked about Coach Noviello a lot and decided that he's the reason why his kid decided to go to JSerra was because of a coach that cares about the kids and wants to make sure they nurture them through high school, get them prepared for the next step of their, whether it's college career or junior career. And that's a moment that you can see that shine through. Pull everybody off to the side, reel it in, boys, get back to playing our game, and they come out with a win.
And how great is that in a league like the high school league for the Ducks that is developing to actually have parents saying that about the coaches?
Yeah.
That is a huge point and a huge kind of advertisement for the Anaheim Ducks High School Hockey League. We got some of the best coaches in this Southern California area coaching in this league as well. Not only former NHLers, but guys who really know how to coach the sport.
Yeah. And speaking of the best coaches in the league, how about one of the most decorated coaches in the league? Craig Johnson from Santa Margarita took his team down to Carlsbad to take on Pacific Ridge in a huge Division I matchup. Let's go to the videotape. It starts off with Jack Cadju in the first period as Pacific Ridge, they struck first. Aiden McDonald got on the board first to give Pacific Ridge the 1-0 lead, but it wouldn't take long. Santa Margarita came back. Aiden Casey took a pass from Marcus Kim. Taylor Lowe got in there and got an assist as well. They evened things up at a goal apiece. Alden Cressy for Santa Margarita took a pass here from Ryan Riddlesberger, the former JSerra Lion, to give the Eagles the 2-1 lead down at Icetown Carlsbad. End of the first period, Jack Cadju got his second of the game, also from Aiden McDonald, just like his first. Hayden Shoemate contributed as well, and they tie this thing up at 2 goals apiece, and that's where it stood at the end of one. Lots of action in that first period. Moving now to the second, you saw Marcus Kim here. He's going to get a pair back-to-back, and it gives Santa Margarita the 2-goal lead. He was so sharp in this one. I think you're going to see his face on our score placard at the end of this one as he's able to take this pass and creep behind the defense. Look at that. Nobody on him, and he's able to bury it past Patrick O'Donnell to give his team a 4-2 lead. Pacific Ridge tried the comeback. Cole Sheridan came over, buries one, makes it 4-3 to pull Pacific Ridge to within one. But you know what? That was it. There was nothing that happened in that third period. Both goaltenders came to play in that final frame, and Santa Margarita wins it 4-3 on the road down south. Some of the key stats in this one, the power plays. Santa Margarita was 0 for 2. Pacific Ridge was 0 of 5. Special teams played a role in this one, even though Santa Margarita was able to get the win. You look at the goaltenders, Brandon Yamasaki and Patrick O'Donnell came to play. 32 of 35 in the save category for Yamasaki. O'Donnell, not his usual self, but still stopped 24 of 28. Santa Margarita now on an 8-game winning streak. And as for Pacific Ridge, they've lost 2 in a row. They need to right the ship, Christian. And we've got a flat-out battle now at the top of this division as we take a look at the D1 standings. Orange Lutheran and Santa Margarita are getting after it for that top seed, which is important now because the number 1 seed gets a double bye going into the postseason tournament.
Yeah, some things changed due to one of the teams dropping out of the Division I. We had to reshape how we were going to do this whole thing, and that's what it ended up being. The top seed's going to get it. Now, I'll tell you right now, it'll be really tough to unseed Orange Lutheran. In fact, it's impossible to unseed Orange Lutheran if they remain undefeated, Eric. They are 10-0 in this league right now.
Yeah, they control their own destiny going the rest of the way, of course. They're going to take on Pacific Ridge tomorrow in a big one. And then after the first of the year, once their 2019 calendar year schedule is over, they've got Santa Margarita on January 11th. So they've got 2 big games coming up, but nobody's been able to figure out how to stop this team.
Santa Margarita right behind them, 9-1, so that's going to be a great game. I'm really excited for that one. And then St. Mary's is the 3rd team in right now, who we talked about it a couple weeks ago. St. Mary's last year, first year in the league. We always see that tough first year. They came back in the second year like something we've never seen.
Yeah,
they're jumping high.
Yeah, absolutely. And you talk about the postseason bracket, the number 2 and number 3 seeds also get a bye into the second round in Division One. So they need to find a way to stay up in that top trio. But they're running out of time. They only have 4 games left. They play a huge chunk of their games when they come down here to Southern California. They've lost 4 of their last 6. They've got to figure out a way to right the ship.
Meanwhile, if you look through the rest of it, Capistrano United right up there as well. Pacific Ridge, JSerra, Bellarmine, Tahoe, and Damien. Eric, there's still plenty of room for movement in that lower half, but these teams are going to be facing some great teams in these playoffs, assuming that it doesn't topple over in a way that we haven't seen in a little while. But at the same time, these teams down low are pretty good as well.
Well, we talk about Pacific Ridge. We saw them lose that game right there. This is a team where you got to keep a look at their goal tallies. If they score 3 goals or less, they lose. They've lost every game they've scored 3 or less. So once they get over that plateau and they start racking them up, you know they're probably going to be victorious. We talked about JSerra. They snapped a 3-game losing streak out there in Vegas. So they've got 7 games remaining. They actually have 1 less game left than 4 of the 5 teams ahead of them. So they don't have a lot of time to try to make up for them to get into a potential bye situation. Bellarmine's won 3 of their last 4. They're 4-5 so far on the year. They're going to have Damien after the first of the year. They're done for 2019. So is Tahoe Prep Academy. They've lost a couple in a row that we've mentioned. And then for Damien, who's sitting at the bottom right now, they've got a win to their credit. They've got St. Mary's tomorrow. They've lost 6 in a row. So remember, they started off with a win. And they haven't won since. And they've got to find a way to try to pick themselves up. So Division One, really a battle right now, 1 through 6, if you look at the standings, because those top 3 spots are paramount if you want to get a bye.
Meanwhile, let's move over to Division II now, and it's Beckman who finds themselves at the top of the list. They are 8-3-0-0 with 24 points, Eric, and this Beckman team is always been there.
Yep.
This year in Division II. Granted, a couple of teams might not be in the way anymore of Capistrano United, Pacific Ridges, that kind of leveling, but Beckman's taking advantage. They're 2 points above Central Cathedral right now, who's also been at the top. Beckman's really started things hot this year.
Started the year 3-3. They've won 5 in a row. They are hot right now, and they're doing it at the right time. They got Corona Norco tomorrow. They shut out the Stingrays the last time they played them 5-0. You look at Central Cathedral there in second place. They have North County tomorrow, so big San Diego area battle. This is another team who can score in bunches. They've scored 6 or more goals during their 5-game win streak in all of those wins, and they've got 6 or more in all of their wins for the season. So you got to look out for Central Cathedral. Remember, they were upset in the postseason last year early on in the tournament. They're looking for some revenge.
Meanwhile, going down the rest of the list, St. John Bosco, Edison, North County, Beach Cities, Poway, Upland Christian Hockey, Corona Norco, Irvine United, and then La Jolla Country Day. Obviously got a kind of late start to the Division II anyway. Because of that tough start they had in Division I, finds themselves at the bottom of the slot. But this Division II, Eric, is also a strong one. We can really get things moving in this division.
Bosco and Beach City, as we mentioned, they're going on right now behind us. The Braves have a 1-0 lead. They win this game in regulation. They're going into first place.
It's a good top half right there.
It really is. And there's also a double bye involved in Division II, and there will be in Division III also. So it's very important. The league wanted to put more of an emphasis on the regular season because every team makes the playoffs. So how do you make the regular season more important? You give the top team a double bye, and that way you work for that top spot.
Absolutely. And as someone who thinks about doing as little as possible, that kind of sounds nice to me. Let's win up front, and then we don't have to do anything for a couple of weeks. It sounds good to me. Meanwhile, you were talking about Division III. Let's look at it now. It's the Santa Margarita Eagles, the Capistrano United Coyotes, and the Olu Lancers at the top in this division as well. Granted, St. Mary's is at the top of Division I right now, or in that top bracket above Capistrano United. But these 3 programs have been on fire in both Division I and Division III.
And again, it's a testament to how well the coaching is. And how well the team managers are handling everything and how organized all the programs are. And it's the 3 top teams in D3 and 3 of the 4 top teams in D1. And it's probably going to end up, they're both going to be top 3 in both of their divisions. They're very well organized. As I mentioned, Santa Margarita now, they've scored 7 or more goals during their 3-game win streak down in Division 3. They're taking on Orange Lutheran over on Rink 3, I believe, right now, or Rink 1 right now. Here at Great Park Ice. So that's a big matchup. Capistrano United, 10-1 also. It's going to be a battle between the Coyotes and Eagles for that double bye situation, they've shut out their opponent, has Capistrano, in their last 2 wins. So they're finding their groove defensively. Orange Lutheran, they've allowed 3 or less in every one of their wins. So there's the opposite plateau you look for. Lancers give up 3 or less, they win the hockey game. So Division 3, very well balanced right now. If you look at the standings, you're looking 1 to 4 is probably where the battle is for the buys. And then you've got Villa Park, Placentia Yorba Linda, Inland Empire, Vegas, Carlsbad battling there in that muddled middle. Servite, Mater Dei, Saddleback, Damien down at the bottom. They've got a lot of work to do, but certainly not done yet.
It's not. That's the big thing with this league is we've seen things change so much. The playoffs are coming, though, and these teams are in that heat. Like you said, really that top 4 is the last 4 we need to, or the top 4 are the ones that are going to be bantering for that top position. But talent throughout this league right now, Eric, we just saw it in the first top 3 divisions. Didn't even look at JV, but there's talent down there as well. And I love how you mentioned we have a game going on 3 sheets away, which feels like a mile and a half if you haven't been
It might
here.
actually be a mile and a half.
It's up there. It's got to be up there. But we've got so much going on. There's games in Anaheim going on. There's games that are going down in Poway, down in even further down into the San Diego area. We had a Vegas showcase. And of course up north. This league is not contained to Anaheim Ice anymore, and that is a really cool thing. Now, last year, you took on a little bit of a different role with the league. You were the deputy commissioner of the league. This year, just director of media, which I think is really important because part of the media. Thank you. Anyway, tell us how your role with the league has changed in the last couple of years and where it's going right now.
Well, it's funny to talk about because we figure this is my 11th season here in any type of capacity with the league. We started, those of you who follow the league for the last 11 years, remember sportsnetusa.net, where we started broadcasting the games on radio. There was no moving pictures. You couldn't see the game on your screen. Chuck Lasik and I did play-by-play for maybe a game or 2 every other weekend because it was just JSerra and Santa Margarita. They're playing each other, playing some of the club teams. So we did play-by-play exclusively for a while. Eventually it came to be, the league asked me to step in and be deputy commissioner and kind of be the right-hand man to Matt Blanchard and make sure operationally things were going okay. And a lot of the stuff behind the scenes that nobody really sees all that much, whether it's making sure the games go off in time, making sure the players got their jerseys, and making sure the schedule is written properly, and coordinating what venues the games are going to be at, making sure we have referees for the games. So got to do that for a full season.
Because we didn't once, so we need to make sure somebody has a referee.
That's true, we didn't once, right. Back then I was just play-by-play. Yeah. I didn't have to touch all the referee situation, but we've gotten that squared away. And of course we have Vicki Egger as the deputy commissioner now, who I couldn't be more happy about. Absolutely. She's a lot better than I am. I ain't going to lie about it. So that worked out well. And now doing director of media, which I think a lot of people know is what I love to do. It's my job to make sure everybody at home gets to see not just the broadcasts on Black Dog Hockey, but also gets to see the shows like this. And the kids can go home and they get to see their name on the screen, when we do this show. And then they get their name heard when we call the games and call the goals that they score, or a big save that a goaltender may make, or a big hit by a defenseman. They love to hear their names. I love to tell the story that years and years ago when I was first starting to broadcast doing baseball, high school baseball, and there was a kid who made a diving over-the-shoulder catch in foul territory, and I lost my mind. I'd never seen a high school kid do this before. A first baseman, I think he was a sophomore, maybe a junior at the time. And a few weeks later, I ran into him during the season, and his phone rang, and I heard myself yelling about that. And I said, "Where is that coming from?" He said, "I used it as my ringtone."
Oh, my gosh.
He had my call of his diving catch as his ringtone, and that took me aback a little bit. So my passion is calling these kids' names on TV, on the radio, wherever, on this show here. So everybody who can't be here can see their friend, family member, their student athlete go out here and perform. They work hard, and there's not a lot of kids who get media coverage. And we wanted to do it for hockey, especially because hockey doesn't get a ton of media coverage anyway, whether or not it's high school. So it's been an honor and a privilege to be able to set this up and do what we love. You and I going through these stats and getting prepared for the show is what we love. We love this rush, and we love to bring everybody at home this hockey. So that's now my job to make sure these go off without a hitch, and I hope today we did all right.
That kid might have actually invested in your voice. Back then it might have been like $20 to set your own ringtone. Remember back in the day?
That's a good point. I didn't think about that.
I mean, think about that. He might have paid to have you as your ringtone.
And I got not a dime from that. So, what are you going to do?
We need to talk about. We need to talk about that. As far as getting the kids' names out there and getting the media out there, you've really taken on the social media aspect as well. We've got a number of contributors, but you're kind of overseeing that as well. How does one even start kind of overseeing a social media for the Anaheim Ducks High School Hockey League?
We have 51 teams. We have 3 varsity divisions, 2 JV divisions. We have 4 social media members who are putting this all together. And it's not easy. It's finding stats. It's finding the players of the week or the players of the month. We got to get that out there. This is not the full-time job for the 4 of us. This is our hobby, so to speak. So being able to keep up with the league, even when we're at work, we've got to find a way to sneak off and do things off the side during our lunch breaks when we're off the clock and not being paid.
Absolutely.
We have to make sure we're off the clock.
Of course.
When we send these things out, right?
I know what I'm talking about.
So it's doing that and finding the time to be able to get the info out there to everybody, to let them know what's going on in the league. Let them know there's a broadcast on Black Dog Hockey. Let them know the All-Star selections are coming up soon. By the way, right after the first of the year, the All-Star selections will be coming out, so stay tuned for that.
Look out.
We got a lot of work to do with that as well.
Might be a report card tease right there.
Could be. Maybe we'll announce it on the show. I don't know.
We'll see.
We'll have to talk to the guy who makes that decision. Oh, that's me.
Maybe.
Anyway. But things like that, just making sure that all of this is getting pushed out to the public so they know when to be here at the rink, because not everybody just wants to see their team play. They want to see what the other team is doing because we're battling with them for first. So it's a big undertaking. My team of 4 is great. I love every minute of working with them. It's been a great time, and I can't wait to get to work for tomorrow too.
The content that's been going out is great. I remember when both Slava Demine and why am I blanking on his name now?
Ryan Johnson.
Ryan Johnson. I was thinking Craig Johnson, and I wasn't going to say that. But when Ryan Johnson was getting, you guys had everything ready to go. You had a whole little center ready to put out that information. It's been fantastic content. So congratulations to you and your team on that. And congratulations on coming back to the report card, Eric.
Oh, thank you. It's been great.
So excited that you're back.
It's been great to come back. I was looking forward to getting back and trying to prep for a show. Luckily, it worked out. I could do it today, but I'm going to give a big thank you to you for stepping into doing this. We knew you could do a great job, and you have so far, so you haven't let me down.
Well, thank you.
Continue to do that. Thank you. And
we'll
also, I'm not going to hide it. You're one of the 4 for social media, and Austin Mader is as well, our director of operations. So you guys are 2 of the 4, and I thank you guys for your help because we couldn't do this without you, and this league definitely wouldn't be as big or as well known if it weren't for the team. So thank you for that as well.
I was trying to hide that whole thing.
I know you were. I was going to bring it out.
We're going to go right into it. It's fine. Folks, we've got a lot of stuff going on in this league this weekend. Let's take a look at the schedule for this weekend because it has changed. Tonight, 7:30, Eric Pessolano is going to be your play-by-play broadcaster for the Capistrano United Coyotes taking on the St. Mary's Rams. Eric, this is the second weekend in a row the St. Mary's Rams, or the second weekend that they've come down in a row where they didn't have to deal with crazy elements coming down. It's for the first time they've dealt with fire, they've dealt with rain, and everything else in between. But the St. Mary's Rams have 2 games this weekend, a pivotal one against Capistrano United. 2 teams at the top of that division. And then tomorrow at 11:10 a.m. from Anaheim, we're going to be doing Damien against St. Mary's as well. Damien really needs to find that push to get back into this division, really get back into the conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. We talked about St. Mary's only having 4 games left, and 2 of them are this weekend. So they've got some points that they need to pick up to stay up in the top 3 in the rankings. Then that last game that we saw, Orange Lutheran and Pacific Ridge tomorrow night at 4 o'clock. Yeah.
So big that we upended the schedule.
We did. That's our flex game.
Yeah.
We flexed it. We moved from JSerra Santa Margarita to Orange Lutheran Pacific Ridge due to playoff implications. So that'll be a big one tomorrow night. I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun.
It's going to be a fantastic game. Black Dog Hockey is the place to be, bdehockey.com. A big thanks to Andy Dickerson for letting us be able to flex that and making sure that he's going to have the right programming and everything that goes out on that. Black Dog Hockey has been really integral in helping this league grow even further and really show off its skill. I look for nothing more than that in the future. Also, very integral in growing this league is the social media that we were talking about. And one of those is this YouTube channel you're watching this show on right now. If you like this video, go ahead and click a like at the bottom of the video. Click that thumbs up. Also, hit the subscribe button and grab the notification bell so you can know when we're going live with the next report card and every other piece of content that's coming through. We got more content coming, Eric.
We got a lot more content coming up. It's going to be a fun next few months.
It's fun's the word, yeah. Not busy, fun.
Well, we can use both. That's fine.
This next week is the holiday week, folks, so we do want to say a very happy holidays from everyone at the report card and everyone at the Anaheim Ducks High School Hockey League. Enjoy it with your families. We don't have any games next week, but then we're back right after that, like without a stop. But while you are enjoying the holiday weekend, come on down to the rink. We've got Harvard against Arizona State University, a great chance to watch Division I hockey in Southern California.
Yeah, absolutely. ASU making the jump just a couple of years ago, and we know Harvard with the East Coast chops. They're going to play a couple games here over next weekend, the 28th and 29th. Come on out to Five Point Arena and watch these two teams play some competitive collegiate hockey. Admission's
going to be only $10. You can go on the Rinks website or this Rinks website for anything you want to learn about. 4 o'clock on Saturday, 1 o'clock on Sunday are the game times for those. I'm really excited to have some Division I hockey going on in Southern California. We don't get to see it a lot. We've got the local teams, but Division I hockey, and in this building, it's going to be a great time. A big thank you, Eric, for stepping in and helping us on the report card today. We miss you over here. We're glad that you were able to fill in for a little bit, as obviously Chuck Lasik is not here right now. Mike Perkins, as we teased possibly on the show, is not here right now. I was worried I was going to have to do it myself, and then we were like, wait a second, why doesn't Eric just jump in and come back one more time? Hopefully more than one time in the future, but for right now, one more time to come and join us on the show. A big thank you to you.
Well, thank you, Christian. Hopefully we can do it soon.
We want to say a big thank you to Matt Blanchard, the commissioner of the Anaheim Ducks High School Hockey League. Without him, this show was not going to get going, and he really helped things out to get this show going. A big thank you to our technical director, also known as the Director of Operations for the Anaheim Ducks High School Hockey League. Austin Mader's behind the camera right now, making sure that you guys get to see every single highlight and standing board and score shot thing that we put up there. Every single thing is big thanks to him. So a big thank you to Austin Mader. A big thank you to Art Trottier for doing everything he does for this league. And
there's no building without him.
Really, there isn't. Like, we'd be just sitting in a dirt pile like we were at the end of last season for the Anaheim Ducks High School, or 2 seasons.
2 years ago now, yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Anyway, also want to say a big thank you to you for joining us here on the report card every 2 weeks to bring you the exciting highlights, notes, division statistics, everything else that goes into the report card. A big thank you to you. On behalf of Eric Pessolano, I'm Christian Ilten saying thank you for joining us on the report card. And have a happy holidays, everybody. We will see you in 2020 as we get ready to wrap up yet another year of Anaheim Ducks High School Hockey League action. Have a fantastic holiday break, everybody. We'll see you in the new year.